Hey, welcome everybody to Loud State Radio here on Empire Radio, theempiremedia.com. This is episode 8. I'm Adam Hernandez. It's Josh Houslander. Josh, how you doing?
Good, man. What's up?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm awesome, dude.
Good.
It's awesome to be awesome.
That it is. Well, we've got we're back this month, since we usually tend to do this on a monthly basis. I think this is their actually our first show probably in 2 months, but who's counting, right?
Yeah, not me.
Anyways, though, we actually have a pre-recorded interview that we're going to play with the band Alaya's Curse out of the Carolinas. Some of the guys are from North Carolina. Some of the guys are from South Carolina. But we are going to be playing that in just a little bit. Just because our topic tonight, too, kind of goes hand in hand with that band. And really with a lot of bands, Josh. When it comes to their like an evolution of a band's sound, I think it's a really interesting thing to kind of take note of with whatever band you are really listening to, or you've listened to for a long time. I think sometimes it works, sometimes it obviously doesn't. Obviously, the longer the band has been around, the more prone they are to changing their sound. In fact, I don't really know of any band out there that's been around longer than let's say at least 10 years that hasn't done something to their sound.
I think so.
And that's even, I think 10 years is even probably too long. Maybe even, like
6 or 8 years.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, 10 just seemed like a nice round number.
I actually don't mind the 10. I think you're right with 10.
But it's like I said, it's an interesting thing to take note of, because I can go, when I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking about a ton of different bands that have undergone a change in their sound, and it has worked and for others it hasn't. For others, I think that change in their sound has signified them having to give it up, hang it up, stop playing music, break up, go do something else.
I think a big question, evolution is natural. It's always going to happen in music, in a band, just a band playing together, as often as they do and for as long as they do. But I feel like the differentiator, if you will, is forced evolution and natural evolution.
Explain that, Josh.
And to me, I like a natural evolution of a band. Mm-hmm. It's natural. It's obviously. It has to happen. It's something that comes about, does happen, and just, it may or may not work. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't, but it's there. Forced evolution, I rarely like. Mm-hmm. In fact, me for one, I almost never like it. Mm-hmm. That's more a personal preference than something else. But when a band sets out and says we're going to change our sound, I rarely like that. And in my opinion, when a band goes through forced evolution, it will inevitably not work. Sometimes maybe the first forced evolution's okay, maybe the second one's even okay, but eventually they're gonna fall apart. At least.
Are you talking about a band getting like too radio friendly, getting a little too corporate?
A little, for sure. That's a common evolution. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a common evolution. The band that pops into my head immediately when you say that evolution is Green Day. Of course, and to me, if you look at a band like Green Day, who I was a huge fan of at one point, not so much anymore. I still like what I liked then. I just haven't I don't care much for anything they've come out with in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
And by recent years, I mean 10 years. I mean at least. But, you listen to their old stuff, which I love. 1039, Smooth Out Slappy Hours, Kerplunk, an album like that. I love those old albums. It's raw, and you can see why this was a niche following.
I mean, Dookie's a classic.
Right, and Dookie's their first one that gets big, and you can see the natural evolution from Kerplunk to Dookie. You can see why, wow, this is when this band became good. Great. And you can see that natural evolution, and then later there's a forced evolution. You get 21... whatever it was called, the Guns song, it was a 21 Gun Salute, or whatever that song was called. And to me, that's when it's just like, okay, they might as well be Ariana Grande at this point. Like, they do nothing for me.
When I think of that, Josh, and I like the term forced evolution and natural evolution, and I mentioned this to Alaya's Curse when I'm talking to them, because one thing, I mean, the thing with this band too is, I actually genuinely like them. Mm-hmm. Like, I really, really like this band. When I heard it, it's if you don't like metalcore type of music, then you're probably not going to like this band. Sure. But I like metalcore music. Mm-hmm. And when I listened to what they released back in 2014, as opposed to their single, which they actually released last year, something that I said to them is they matured. Their sound matured. Mm-hmm. It seemed like they refined they were refining their sound, and it came to a head. And I thought that was, and you'll hear it in the interview. I like their old stuff. I like what they came out before, but I told them that what they did last year and what they're working on now gives some great insight and some, it seems like it's something really exciting for people that like that type of music, or like that band in particular, to get hopeful about and get excited about. But I think another band for me that underwent that evolution, and I think they sound better now than when they did when they first started. And this is, again, one of my favorite bands ever, is the Deftones. When they first came out with Adrenaline, it was good. I still like Adrenaline, and a lot of people will label the Deftones as new metal, which I fucking can't stand. I hate the term new metal just because of some of the shit that it's associated with, like kind of like shit bands like Korn,
sure,
or Disturbed, bullshit, or like old Stained. I know, yeah. I know the guy does like country music now. Right. Aaron Lewis, and he's a total douchebag too.
Hey, one thing though, you can't judge a band by having a douchebag frontman.
No, you can't.
Because then you've basically thrown out like some excellent music.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm not. No. Having a douchebag frontman is definitely fine, but when you go off and you're a douchebag frontman that goes and does country that's
it's worth bringing up when you make music that sucks now.
But there's a difference between new metal. There's a difference between post grunge. Post grunge is another bullshit, shitty fucking genre that has emerged. That's like Puddle of Mud or Creed.
Yeah.
What's the other one? What's the Nickelback? All those. I mean, God bless them, Kurt Cobain, Dave Grohl, Chris Cornell. I mean, obviously awesome musicians in their own right, awesome song writers and whatnot, but fuck. You gotta think to yourself, if it wasn't for those assholes, we wouldn't have had post-grunge now. Right. But the Deftones, though, they've underwent this refining, and this, their sound has just become so much more mature from Adrenaline to what it is now. It is, I for one think they're better, and you hear the opposite so much, Josh. Where, oh man, and like Aerosmith is one in particular. Does anybody like newer Aerosmith?
No.
And when I say newer Aerosmith, like Aerosmith in the late '90s, like when he came out with like Pink or something like that.
I'll even break it down to that album that Pink is on, because I'm a huge Aerosmith fan,
Yeah.
as you know. That album that Pink is on, Nine Lives, to me is the ultimate transition to garbage, because half that album still sounds like Aerosmith. Half of it is still decent, and then there's Pink and The Taste of India, and I haven't listened to that album in a few years. I didn't know we were going to be talking about it, but you can see they had started the transition, but I still like that record because there's still 4, 5, 6 songs on it where I'm like, oh, this is a cool song.
Yeah.
Like this is a cool song. This is just a rock song.
And you know what? I didn't want to name
and then Just Push Play comes next, which is just pop garbage.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't even want to name all of Aerosmith. I didn't want to lump all of 90s Aerosmith into that. Just because I think early 90s Aerosmith is still pretty good.
Get a Grip? Great album.
Yeah.
Great album.
I mean, it's still really good, and it's just they take that transition through the mid 90s into the late 90s into the early 2000s where it's just like, fuck, man.
No, Pump, Get a Grip, don't have a bad track.
Yeah.
That's early 90s still, you know. I think Pump was 89, but you know, that's not a bad track on those records.
Yeah, and there's some other bands out there too. A lot of them a lot of them are in the 90s, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you have like the Red Hot Chili Peppers when they first came out, they were fucking awful. I know my wife likes early Red Hot Chili
Some
Peppers.
of that stuff's hard to listen to.
And I'm like, fuck, man, how can you listen to this garbage? But you know, then they undertake that, you know, that they find their sound throughout the early 90s into the mid 90s, and even, you know, some stuff off of Californication I like. I really couldn't give two shits about the Red Hot Chili Peppers now. I mean, they're a band that can probably break up and I wouldn't care. I mean, as long as Blood Sugar Sex Magic is still around. One Hot Minute, I think, is a really good one, even though they
hate it. Yeah, as Ed's saying in the background.
Oh, it's great. It's a great album. Yeah. It's different. I mean, it's obviously different than a lot of the other shit that they've done before.
Yeah, and I don't know if people can hear Ed picked up on the mic or not, but Ed in the background from Deep Issues is here, and he's saying that, you know, I know he's a big Chili Peppers fan, and I'm with Ed that One Hot Minute is one of my favorites, and I know it's Ed's very favorite. It's Dave Navarro on lead guitar.
And that's why it's different.
They claim to hate it. I think they're full of crap. I think it's just because they don't like Dave Navarro.
Probably.
And they don't want to give him credit for what he did with the band on that record, which is excellent.
Didn't they have problems like he I think he was in like rehab or something like that. Like their tour got canceled, I think, a couple times because of like
was
injury.
Kiedis in rehab?
No, I think Dave Navarro was in.
That could be normal.
Plus, I think somebody broke their arm or something. Like that tour just like kept getting canceled or postponed.
I figured half that band was in rehab.
Yeah,
Flea
at various times.
I figured Flea and Chad were the only ones not ever in rehab.
Yeah, and I don't even know that for certain. But
yeah, I don't know that either. But Chad doesn't seem like a guy that would ever be in rehab.
A good friend of mine. I'll make this story super quick, but a good friend of mine saw them in the era you're talking about that your wife likes.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
And he's a little older than I am, and he saw them, and he said they he could tell he's like, I think these guys would be huge, but he said they were just insane. He said Anthony Kiedis was up on stage just drinking an entire bottle of that liquor that's illegal here. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's got the. What is it? You can get it in Canada.
Is it not El Coyote Loco, is it?
No, it's the thing that absinthe.
Oh.
He's just drinking absinthe out of the bottle and just like an amount that would just knock somebody on their ass. And he's just drinking it on stage, and he's just like an I mean, they were a crazy band, an absolutely crazy band. But I'm with you on their evolution too. I feel like it went from they found it and then they kind of maybe lost it. And some of that stuff, like Californication, when it came out, I was like, I'm done with these guys. And now when I hear it, I'm like, I actually think it's all right. But it's still, they had that middle era that I really like. Blood Sugar Sex Magic, One Hot Minute. What's the one right after that? I like that one too.
One of the guy who originated the band died of an OD after their first album, didn't he?
Yeah, the original lead guitar, because they've had so many lead guitarists.
Yeah, and now their lead guitar player's like some 21-year-old that
right.
you know. I don't know.
I'm sure at this point he's probably excellent, but they're probably just bringing in hired guns at this point.
Oh,
just try out, find somebody who can really wail on the guitar, and we'll just go with them.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
I know Dave Navarro used to have a weird thing. He used to kind of poke fun at that, and he had a different guitar and different guitar picks that that represented all their different guitar players in the band and stuff, and it was just kind of he's a weird dude in his own right, but but yeah, with the evolution of music, like you were saying, Adam.
Yeah.
I think to kind of give some proof, I think, to what I was saying, when you look at the great bands, however you feel about them, but just the amazing bands that have stood the test of time, and now we're getting into this era where we have classic rock bands who are celebrating 40 and 50 years of music together. When you look at those great bands, you look at bands that have not had a lot of evolution.
Yeah.
That found a sound and stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
The Rolling Stones and Bob Seger and Bruce Springsteen and guys like that. You haven't seen a ton of evolution from those bands.
Well, that's interesting too, Josh, because those guys that you just named off, look where they're from too. Mm-hmm. Look at the era that they're from.
Yeah.
And it's weird to. You wonder why. Why is that the case? Because even a band like the Foo Fighters are different from.
They are.
They're different from when the self-titled came out. They're different from when Color and the Shape came out. It's I don't know why that is.
I don't either.
It's weird. I mean, you can go and you can pinpoint to, you can look at a bunch of different reasons for some of the bands now that we just named off of.
And hey, I fully understand too that I bring up a band like the Rolling Stones, who sure they do have evolution when you listen to early stuff and late stuff, but you may be that guy listening thinking oh, you're gonna say the Rolling Stones are great just because they sold a lot. You're gonna claim that
I can't stand the Rolling Stones.
Yeah,
so.
well, and that's fine, and that's fine. If you're that guy or you're that gal, that's totally cool. I understand that you're listening to a music podcast on the internet. There's a good chance that you are that person. You're saying, "Oh, are you claiming that Bob Seger's better than Roxy Music just because he sold more records?" You can be that guy if you want. I don't care. Yeah. But in this, for this example, I am kind of saying that these people that they're. Obviously, a whole bunch of people like them. They've sold millions and millions of records over the years. And when you look at those bands or those artists, you see people that haven't done a forced evolution.
Yeah.
Natural evolution, for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to this interview with Alaya's Curse. I will say this. Unfortunately, the first minute, there was a problem with the program, the recording software. I was trying a different program. It wasn't working out right. So, unfortunately, the first minute of the interview cut out. Luckily, that first minute is just basically an introduction. But I will go ahead and take care of that right now. Alaya's Curse, like I said, they're from the Carolinas, North and South Carolina. Consists of 4 guys. Ivan, the lead singer. We've got where'd it go? Travis on guitar. You got Matthew. I believe Matthew's on guitar as well, and then Abraham is the touring drummer. So I believe they're still looking to kind of get a full-time drummer. But anyways, those are the guys in the band. Like I said, awesome band. We're gonna play out to them as well, and we also played their most current song, "Call,"
cool.
During the interview as well. So we'll go ahead and get that started. And like I said, unfortunately, it starts. We'll pick up a minute or so into the interview. So
sounds good, man.
And so me myself, I couldn't find anybody at the time to be a part of the project, so I just kind of put it on hold, and I went on to other things, with other people, and none of that really went to fruition. And but what after that, as recently as last year, I started thinking, I'm like, well, I might as well put something out current and give people reason to join, because I wasn't wanting to give up on this project because I invested a lot into it, and it was something I really, really wanted to put out there. So, you know, after, you know, writing the song Call, you know, I released that and then kind of like put the word out that I was looking for people. And last October, I ran into Travis and Brian, and, you know, we all clicked and we got together. And then after that, Matt, the guitarist, stepped into the picture. So, yeah, here we are, practicing, gearing up for shows and stuff, you know, getting at it.
So Ivar, the newer song, the recording and everything, is that you playing all the instruments, or did you guys re-record it afterwards with kind of everybody in the loop and, you know, kind of being able to do their own thing?
Yeah, that I record myself. I wrote it just because like I had nobody else to kind of bounce ideas off. So it was like my way of you know, kind of putting something together to give somebody, you know, like these guys a reason to join, you know, because
sure,
if I just showed them, like, you know, like that, you know, I was trying to get back out there, but I didn't have anything newer to show off, you know, what the band is now. You know, some people might not respond well to that. So that's, I kind of put together that song, and yeah, they kind of learned it and whatnot. So
now was that, I'm speaking to the other guys in the band. Were you guys able to listen to the EP before, or Ivar, was that kind of your hook for all of them was Call, and then you would introduce them to the other stuff later on?
He originally promoted the ad looking for musicians with the song Call.
Okay. And what do you guys think? Is that something that you all have a background in musically? I mean, is that your guys' type of music, or is it something that you're open to, willing to, you know, kind of get on board with?
Yeah, I was actually with another project, How I Met a Bar. We were looking for a clean vocalist, and we came across him and listened to Call. And as soon as we heard his vocals, we were like, yeah, that's exactly like what we want to go toward, the whole melodic, heavy but also clean vibe. And then after that, me and Ivar clicked, and we decided to, you know, really get this project back on the road. And that's how, you know, we kind of like revived Alaya's Curse.
Awesome. And what's your driving influence? I mean, both lyrically and musically. I mean, where do you guys find your inspiration from for all of this? Because, like I said to start, I mean, it's really quite intriguing. I thought that you guys have an excellent sound. You guys, it's a clean sound. What I mean by clean is, it sounds like you guys have a lot of talent in what you want to do. So where do you guys kind of draw your inspiration lyrically and musically?
Oh, lyrically, like, I guess, like, it's just, like, you know, like any other musician out there that writes lyrics, like, you know, experiences and,
sure,
you know, thoughts you might have on, you know, everyday events or, you know, life experiences you have, you know, with other people or relationships, just like a way to vent out. Like, I don't really have, like, you know, someone I look towards to so much. Like, as far as, like, you know, inspiration for lyrics, the closest I have for an answer for that would probably like a style lyrics. Like, it sounds weird to say it, but, like, you know, a big influence, like, stylistically, and just the way he kind of, like, words things is, like, Corey Taylor from Slipknot. Like, he's very, very smart about his lyrics. Even though he swears a lot, but, I mean, like, if you really read what he kind of gets into, like, he's got some good things to say, and that's kind of like, I guess, in a way, what I wanted to emulate, but play my own way, you know?
Yeah.
I guess I can pass off the question about influences to Brian, I guess, over here, the drummer.
As far as influences, you know, I mean, I've been playing drums, you know, I've been in music for a very long time. I mean, yeah, I'm only 22, but, you know, growing up, I've had drums like my entire life. I've seen, you know, people play, and I was like, man, I want to do that so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, then I started getting into school and everything, and, you know, my friends started introducing me into other bands, you know, and music and stuff, you know, so I have a wide variety, you know, from even R&B to metal. Like, I have a really wide range of music that I listen to. So, you know, it kind of gives me my little style that I have, my little twist that I have, you know.
Sure.
And over time, you know, and I developed my own style and everything. I've self-taught myself and just, you know, picked up tips and tricks from, you know, other drummers who were in it more, you know, more than me over time. And, you know, of course, YouTube and other things, just, you know, being amazed of how, you know, they do the stick tricks and all the other stuff. And it was, you know, but, you know, over time, I developed my own little thing, and here I am now.
Yeah, that's, I mean, in going back to just kind of the evolution of this band, it seems like, and you guys aren't alone. I mean, as far as the breaks that you took and the lineup changes that you undergo, it seems like that's par for the course when it comes to making music together. I mean, was that one of the biggest aspects or one of the biggest problems that you had, Ivar, when it came to the old version of Alaya's Curse to this new one? I mean, is the most difficult aspect of being in a band creative differences? Could that be the biggest killer for a band?
It can be, like, that's kind of like what the issue was with, like, the project I started. I mean, I had before Alaya's Curse, and, you know, that's the thing. A lot of people, like, want to, like, you know, when you get together as a group, like, it's important and essential to, like, have the same vision, to have the same goals, to come along, you know, and to come together for that. And, like, you know, when we got together, like, the current guys, like Travis, Matt, and Brian, we kind of, like, sat down and we're like, okay, this is what we want to do, then this is what we want to sound like now, you know? You know, it's just, with that, like, we came together and now we're kind of, like, going towards those goals and towards those things. But, yeah, I mean, like, that's, you know, the evolution of our sound also reflects that, you know, like, where we want to go as a group. Because, you know, the current lineup, I mean, the past lineup compared to the current one, we had different, you know, goals and, like, I guess, like, influences, to kind of, like, you know, that we wanted to, like, you know, show in our music, and, you know, different ideas floating around, and, you know, different points in life being reflected in the music. So, yeah, like, it's always, you know, evolution of music is always that thing you can't always run from. But, like, the Call is a perfect example of, like, where we're heading towards now, and where we want to be. So, like, as a band, you know, like I said, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that can make or break a band, and at least, and especially the initial stages of starting a band, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And you could certainly see where Call came from. I mean, it's not like Call is something completely different from anything that was on the Escapist. I mean, it's you can certainly see that there are some similarities between the two. I mean, initially what I thought when I was listening to the Escapist and when I listened to Call is that Call and this version of Alaya's Curse seems much more refined, and it seems like it's more of a mature sound maybe than the Escapist was. Am I correct in thinking that?
Yeah, definitely. Because, like, when I wrote the Escapist, like, I was obviously a little bit younger, and musically, like, I never attempted, like, writing an EP. Like, I've never done that before, so, like, it was just, like, a brand new experience. Like, I didn't know what I was doing half the time. So, and that includes vocals as well. Like, you know, just everything in that EP is just like an earlier stage of where I was at, you know.
Sure.
I've definitely liked what I put together. You know, I don't have any, you know, I'm not trying to sound like I'm trying to sound it or anything, but, like, you know, it was just like, you know, it was my first attempt at, you know, like, doing something like that. And the Call, you know, I already knew what the deal was. And on top of that, you know, I had time to practice my skills as a songwriter and a vocalist,
Sure.
to kind of reflect that in the newer single.
Awesome. So kind of run me down because you guys are having band practice today. So what, run me through like a typical, session for you guys in creating music. Because when I did stuff, with a band and with my band, it was so long ago. It was like back in the early 2000s. Getting a song together was, it was difficult. Trying to come up with with something good that you think people could get into is it seemed like that was one of the most difficult things in the world for us to do. Is that, how does it work for you guys? How long does a song typically take for you guys to create together?
Well, typically, I'll start with your first question as far as like a typical band practice.
Yeah.
I like to treat Alaya's Curse like a job, more than just like a hobby.
Sure.
So we try to stick to a strict schedule. A typical band practice for us is we all, throughout the week, set a certain time of the day, either a Saturday or Sunday, to meet up in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll run through our set for the day, for shows that we have coming up. And after that, pretty much at the end of band practice, me and Navarre will sit down and we'll pretty much work out some new material that we're trying to do.
And could you guys, is it your goal to come up with a song or try to almost finish a song during practice? What does, what's the goal right now for you guys as far as your day-to-day practices go?
So our biggest goal is pretty much to be show ready, be as tight as we can be, be ready, for the people we're about to perform to. Then cause we have that's our primary goal. Our secondary goal, is just putting together new material and, kind of going back to what you were asking a second ago, songwriting is one of those things it can take weeks, it can take months even, or it can take just an hour. It just depends. Sometimes it comes to you, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, Travis had something and it was really good, and he wrote in an hour. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where it just depends.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. You guys say you're playing. Are you guys playing a lot of shows right now? What's going on with that? Are you guys trying to get a tour together? Are you guys just trying to, stick to, the Carolina area and branching out from there?
We are definitely starting out in the Carolina area. We consider ourselves based in Charlotte, but we do book shows in both North Carolina and South Carolina. But we do have 2 shows coming up at Skylark Social Lounge, July 20th and August 14th.
Awesome.
But yes, we are trying to branch out to other areas.
What is? Do you guys have a favorite venue in your guys' area at all?
I guess right now Skylark is probably our favorite venue, but we're trying to get as many shows right now since we're getting back together and starting to sing back up. We're just now hitting up everybody as much as we can to get as many opportunities as possible. But right now, where we're playing next is going to be our favorite spot. So
is playing show? Is playing shows one of the best things in the world? Getting up there on stage, doing your thing, and then seeing people, genuinely enjoying what you guys are doing. Is that it? That has to be one of the best parts about being in a band, right?
Yeah. I'll also let the other guys answer too. But for me, yeah. It's one of those things. It's the reason why we want to be in a band. Why we want to write music and share it with people. It's just we just want to go out there and just share something with people. That's the biggest thing for me, at least. And that's all.
Yeah, music for me, growing up, self-teaching myself guitar, music's just always been kind of my escape from reality, which is really why I wanted to pursue it so much. this year I graduated with a popular music and music business degree. So it's just something I've really wanted to, pursue really hard and just really make my life career out of it.
Nice. I couldn't think of any better thing about being in a band than like I said, getting up on stage and playing. Do you guys get nervous before you guys go on though? Is there an anxiety? Is there any type of gig to gig show or goal that you guys have? Is it just going out there, playing a kick-ass show? Is it just trying to meet new people? What is it? What do you guys want to accomplish? I mean, what's the mark of a perfect show for you guys?
Yeah, I'd say there's a little bit of anxiety to it. Just naturally, being in front of a bunch of people, the mindset of trying to do everything right and create a good show. But it's just like having fun. People love going to concerts and seeing bands, and the bands that are playing are having just as much fun as the people that are seeing the show. So really, it's just bouncing that energy back and forth, and just creating like a just a little party.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as some of the bands that you've played with, I mean, have you guys found that that the scene you guys are in the Carolinas there, has it been supportive? Have you guys been able to kind of hook up with other bands and help each other out?
Like, as far as the scene goes, like, I guess the Carolinas, the metal music scene, like, isn't as big as, like, other places like I've been to, like, like Florida or whatever.
Sure.
But, like, there's something there. And sometimes it can be difficult to like, get on shows with other bands, or, like, sometimes other bands aren't, like, they're too busy, or, like, to, like, help you, like, kind of like, because they're kind of doing their own thing. They're in the studio, or they got shows already booked, like, as far as the lineup goes. Travis, hit up a lot of people in the last few weeks to start booking shows. But as far as, like, just the scene and stuff, like, we're trying to make the most of it, I guess. Like, it is not, like, Carolina for me. Like, the Carolinas have been a big, like, Southern music type place.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a community that likes metal music and pop punk or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, here in Detroit too, it seems like we get bands that come through here, and I mean, I guess the problem is with Detroit is sometimes it gets looked over. Just because we're so close to Chicago, or in some of the other places off in like a Pittsburgh or Cleveland, they might bypass Detroit to stop in those cities. Do you guys have a problem at all when it comes to bands coming through your area that you guys will be able to play shows with? Because I mean, like you were saying, I mean, you're probably not going to be able to get on a gig with some country band or some band that plays an entirely different type of music. I mean, not that you guys would want to, because just because you won't have any people there that could probably get into what you guys are playing. I mean, do you guys have an issue with that, with some of with other bands coming through your area to play shows, and that you're able to kind of get on a bill or gig with?
Well, the thing is, like, it's kind of, like, weird. It's kind of funny. Like, the first show that Alaya first had, we were with, like, a few cover bands and a southern rock band, and it wasn't really an issue. It's just, like, the only problem that you kind of run into when doing shows like that is, like, sometimes, like, people won't be as responsive to, like, what you're putting out or what you're performing.
Sure.
But as far as, like, any other situation, it's not a problem, because normally, like, people that, like, bands tend to book shows together or have lineups that are familiar, like similar to one another. So like you don't really run into a problem or a situation where you're like you have a country band with a metal band or a polka band with a jazz band. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things, and like Travis here can tell you like just seeing like it's just sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to book things because a lot of these venues tend to cater to one genre more than another.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to like supporting your local music scene.
Sure.
I feel like a whole lot of venues don't. I'm not gonna say don't support your local music scene, but they don't cater to certain genres, which has made it really difficult for us to, kind of slide into those venues.
Has it made it? I mean, when it comes to something like that, and where we are with music nowadays, I mean, it's not so much about CDs or demo tapes or anything like that. It's about streaming music and Apple Music and Spotify and some of the other ones Tidal that are out there. But I mean, have you guys found it easier to get your sound out there now? Since there are those different digital platforms, and maybe that will help you when it comes to booking shows and maybe tours and stuff later on.
I mean, really, when it comes to like as far as like promotion for tours and stuff, I believe Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that only act as like a foundation for your music, but it's really up to each and every person in your band to play their part and
Sure.
promote the music and build connections. Like Ivar was saying, like I've probably hit up over 100 people in the Charlotte area just as far as musicians, just building connections. I've actually managed to get in contact with 3 promoters in the past month who have been generous enough to book us for some shows to help us get out there. But yeah, really it just boils down to like putting in the work.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it definitely. But I will say this: I'm definitely glad that that I was able to, listen to you guys and get exposed to, the Escapist and then Call. Which, can we play Call real quick? Can we do that? Because I want to transition more into what you guys are doing now before we, before I let you guys go here. But let's go ahead and play Call real quick. Is that cool?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
All right, here we go. Here's Call off of your newer release right now. So here it is. Great song. Awesome. Awesome, you guys. Love that song.
Thanks.
I will have to say that the disappointing thing about you guys is there's nothing that's all that we have right now. That's all that we have that's new from you guys. So what's the deal? When are we going to be able to hear some more stuff from Alaya's Curse?
I mean, stuff are in the works right now. So we're just kind of like, as we're playing shows, we're kind of like putting together stuff. So it shouldn't be a very long time. We don't have an exact time frame for it. We're just kind of right now piecing things together as a new group, with the direction we want to go in, and making sure everything is pretty solid.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, it's an awesome song, and it's and it seems like it leaves some good insight too on other stuff that we can expect from from you guys going forward. Do you guys have a name or anything for? Are you guys going to do another EP? Or are you guys going to do a full length? What's in the works for the for your new stuff coming out?
So yeah, we're working on a full length right now, but right now it's in an earlier stage, so like we're just kind of putting together things right now. That's the only thing I got for you as far as that goes.
What about have you guys made any pitches or anything like that to some record labels or or something like that to kind of maybe help you guys out with the process here? Because I can only imagine that trying to not only trying to get put together music, I mean, as a band, but doing everything else beyond that as far as promotion and touring and, paying for, paying to get copies and shit like that for your music out. So have you guys been able to, hook up with a label or talk to a label or a distributor or something like that to, to help you get your sound out there a little bit more?
We have been building behind the scenes, but we're really just trying to, build our brand before we start pitching to major labels.
Okay. Yeah, that's because, like I said, it's it really is a good song. I can't wait to hear what what's in store for the future for you guys. So where do you guys want? I mean, 1 year from now, I mean, where do you guys want to see yourself as a band? I mean, what do you want to see? I mean, July 7th, 2020. What's the ideal situation for Alaya's Curse?
Ideally, like, I want to see like us playing giant stages with like like fireworks and stuff like that. But realistically, like I would be grateful for like us playing bigger shows and gaining a following and having our album out by then,
Sure.
And showing that off to everybody, so that's ideally like that's where I want to be in the next year and where we as a group kind of want to be, just kind of like playing these bigger shows or maybe even just branching out to other places in the United States, maybe as far out to the West Coast as that's possible,
Yeah, you guys have to come to the Metro Detroit area sometime. I mean, we have awesome venues here. There's lots of venues within the city itself and the suburbs, and I mean, you guys wouldn't have any problems trying, hooking up with anybody around here to play a show. So at some point, you guys definitely have to come up to Michigan and the Detroit area and play some shows out here. But can you give me anything else for the for your new stuff? I mean, do you guys have any new material written at all for it, or do you guys have like a name of the album ready to go? Do you have anything else for me that that fans of yours can actually chew on a little bit here?
See, as far as like the new like a new album, that we're still working on that, but we do have a little something coming soon.
Okay.
Everybody's just gonna have to keep an eye out on Facebook or our social media like Instagram or Twitter. That whenever we're gonna ready to announce it. But we do have a little something for people next.
Awesome. I for one can't wait. Like I said, I'm a fan of you guys. I think your sound is awesome. I can't wait to hear to hear what else you guys, have in store for everybody. Other than that, is there any parting words that you guys have? Is there any last anything else you guys want to get out there before we finish up here?
I guess if anybody's in the Charlotte area, just come check us out. Like we're playing at Skylark Lounge on July 20th, and also on the August 14th. That's right.
Awesome. But yeah, definitely, guys, keep me in the loop. Let me know. Yeah, let me know what's going on. I'd also love to have you guys on again. As well to to talk about some new stuff when it's ready to be talked about, and where you guys are at. So again, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today, and it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome, you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, and that's Alaya's Curse. Everybody, make sure you check him out. Make sure you hit him up on Instagram, social media. Find him on Apple Music. You guys are on Spotify too, right?
Yeah, we're on Spotify.
Yep, Spotify. So check them out. The Escapist, the EP, and then Call, the new song off their yet to be completed new album here. So like I said, check it out. Awesome band. Again, thanks you guys for coming on.
Thank you so much.
All right, that
Good
was
stuff, man.
Thank you. That was Alaya's Curse, and I got a little fanboyish in there, but I don't know. I couldn't help it. I like them. I think they're an awesome band. I think that if they keep at it,
Yeah, you were a little Barbara Walters, but yeah.
I think big things are on the horizon for them.
I like them.
They're a very, very talented band, and like I said, when you listen to The Escapist, their EP that came out in 2014, and you compare it to Call, which is their new single out, their newer single. Like I said, I've said it many times. I think The Escapist is awesome. I think it's an awesome EP. Again, it shows their talent, but what Call ultimately does too is I think it just kind of shows that refined sound that we were talking about earlier. And I know it's only one song, and there's maybe too small of a sample size to base whatever new they have coming out on, but if that's the direction they're going, then I like it even more.
Either way, whether it is just one song or not, it's good stuff. And I'm looking forward to hear what they have in the future. Yeah, so like I said, thank you guys. Thank you, Alaya's Curse, for coming on. And we're going to try to get him on again here, sometime soon in the near future. I hope so. I'd like to talk to him. Yeah, you did a great job, though. Thanks. Yeah, when they get some new stuff out. And, I want them to come out here. I want them to make a stop in Detroit. And, I'd love to go out and see them. But also, like I said at the end of the interview, too, you can check them out on Spotify. They're on Apple Music as well. Hit them up on Instagram, Facebook. Go check out The Escapist, too. Check out their new song, Call, as well. So, very, very good stuff. Josh, throwback album. Throwback album. I got one. You know what, Adam? It actually lends to exactly what we were talking about earlier. I had no idea that you were going to bring up Aerosmith earlier, but it's an Aerosmith album that I got here, actually. And my throwback album for today is Gems by Aerosmith. I don't know how familiar with this record people are, but this is technically a greatest hits, or technically a compilation album. But in a world where Aerosmith as a group of individuals, as a group of people, are kind of annoying. And it sounds like they're killing it in Vegas right now, and that's cool. But they're still kind of... Are they doing like the Celine Dion thing or something? They are. Jesus. And it sounds like they're doing all right. But in a world where pictures of Steve and Tyler come up and you instantly mistake them for Julia Roberts willingly walking into rehab, it's hard to remember how they ever got here, where they got, and you still hear them on the radio, and you hear the good stuff, you hear old stuff, you hear new stuff, but
if you're ever thinking, God, why did I ever like Aerosmith? What's wrong? These guys are so goofy and so they've become caricatures of themselves. When I'm feeling that way, which is frequently, I like to pop in gems because this isn't a typical greatest hits. This is like a greatest hits deep cut, if you will. This is just the hard rock, balls to the wall, like just bass thumping, loud music. This is just their heavy stuff, and all from the 70s, basically. Their heavy stuff from the 70s, and when you hear just No Surprise and Chip Away at the Stone and Jailbait, Nobody's Fault, and songs like that, you are just reminded, like, oh God, this is why these guys are just so goddamn good. Like, they're just so good. This is, and I love Dream On and Walk This Way and things like that, but those songs are not on this album. This is not a greatest hits of their greatest hits. This is their, if you were around back in the late 70s, you heard these songs on the radio. Mm-hmm. They were radio songs, but not, this is not Crying and Living on the Edge and, Walk This Way and Sweet Emotion and Toys in the Attic. This is just the hardest stuff that is just so awesome to listen to. I mean, it's just so good.
There's no denying that they are definitely a legendary band, Josh.
But Aerosmith Gems really is just, they're gems. They're kind of like they're hidden gems on the from the 70s. Kick-ass music, man.
My throwback is actually not from too long ago, 2003. The Postal Service, Give Up. I listened to these. I wasn't as into these guys as I am now. Mm-hmm. I really like their stuff now. Some of them actually went on to form Dashboard Confessional. Very, very interesting sound, though. Kind of an electronic indie band. Very, very good stuff. Go check it out. Again, it's Spotify, Apple Music. My favorite song off of it, Nothing Better. Like I said, go check it out, though. Good stuff. The Postal Service, who actually got sued by the Postal Service. And they actually kind of work things out, though, where they developed almost this relationship where the Postal Service would allow them to use the name the Postal Service as long as I think they did some charity gigs or something for them.
That's kind of cool, I guess.
And I think the Postal Service, USPS, actually sold their CDs on the USPS website first.
Really?
At some point. Yeah.
That's kind of cool, I guess.
That's what I heard. I'm not quite sure if that's true or not, but yeah, go and check them out. The Postal Service, good shit. Album's called Give Up. So, anyways, though, that's gonna do it for this week. Again, I want to give out a huge thank you to Alaya's Curse for coming on and doing that interview with us. I can't wait to hear their new stuff that comes out, and I can't wait to have them back on again. It really was a fun time getting to know those guys and just talking to them about their music. Josh, any parting words or anything?
No, just definitely looking forward to hearing more from them. For sure.
Definitely. Yep. And I'm gonna go ahead. You know what? I didn't get permission from them. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be okay, but we're gonna play out to one of their older songs. This is called "Set in Motion" off the Escapist. We will see you guys hopefully in a couple weeks here.
Totally.
So for Josh, I am Adam, saying see you later.